Yeah. So everyone, hello.
Oh, are we live already? Oh, hi, hi.
Okay. Let me share with you our stream. Uh, this is where you can actually watch. I'm going to share in the. Where is our? Okay. So hello, very. Uh, and we are live actually. Hi everyone. Thank you very much for coming in. And I am here with Johnson Lam, not Johnson Go. Both Johnson. Actually, funny story is I actually introduced Johnson Go to Johnson Lam,
Yeah.
which is very weird. But yeah, hi, welcome everyone. We have a bit of a casual session today. I am here with Johnson Lam, who is the founder of Kaki Repair and also Kaki DIY, and also a whole bunch of other stuff actually. Welcome, Johnson. Welcome to the. Johnson's been really active in his own group. So Kaki Repair is one of our groups that got into the Facebook Accelerator program, the 2021 cohort, and we are part of the eight. We are one of the first four Malaysian teams that got accepted actually. So together with Rafida from Cerebral Palsy Malaysia and Anita from the doctorate support group. This is actually fairly new, and through our program, we've actually met quite a lot of amazing other community builders around APAC and around the world, and we're going to profile a bunch of them. So I want to start with the OG Johnson, basically. No, I know Johnson for a long time already. Since Yes 4G, right? That's the
Yeah. 2010. Wow.
2010. Wow, that's a long time, man. And yeah, let's start. Let's start. I know you do a lot of stuff, and when I say that, it's like it's not even like a sense of respect. It's like I draw a big question mark because I don't know how you do it because it's so in our community we in our Facebook cohort we always say like Johnson don't sleep one night. Is it? So maybe let's dissect that a bit, like who you are, why are you so active, and etc. Yeah.
Hmm. Okay, thank you. I think first of all, I want to say a very big thank you as you're doing this and selecting me to go first. Very happy to be here, and as at the same time, I would like to also say congratulations because I'm very happy to hear when we have selected right the formulations, and then you are one of them who are selected. So I'm so happy that we are all in this Facebook Accelerator program. Okay, so yeah, I'm Johnson Lam. I'm more commonly known as the founder of Kaki DIY and Kaki Repair recently. However, on my whole journey of career and stuff like that, I spent actually exactly 10 years in IT and computer MNC, mainly Dell, Microsoft, and back to Dell again. Then after that, the recent 10 years in telco, which started from YTL, and then after that, Time, and then now I'm with Axiata. I do corporate work at the same time I side hustle on the side, and the side hustling actually started as young as my first company was in the age of 19. So
Mm.
I started a computer company to build out custom made, clone PC those days, how you call it. It was the days of Pentium 2. And that funded sort of like my university for a while. And I have to stop that because I joined Dell, right? Big competitor. So yeah, and then along the way I do the rest of the other side hustles lah. I like photography, so it turned into like this little photo studio, video studio kind of thing. I like automotive, so of course it went first into illegal street racing, and it became more
Sorry, I didn't
legal.
hear that. I didn't hear that. Sorry.
Yeah, yeah, it
The
will be
line,
beep
the
out,
line.
right? No, it's live.
Yeah, I heard that.
Okay. But actually, why I mentioned about the whole automotive and the racing part of it is actually that's where the whole DIY and kaki repair kind of thing started. Although since like 7 years old, I like to tinker stuff. I look at the clock, I will break it out to see what's inside, and then I cannot put it back again together. But the whole process is all about diagnosing and learning, repairing, and improvement, right? But during the whole automotive craziness days, that's when I sort of put this into a proper use, because end of the day, learning about the car and then trying to improve it, I pick up all the industrial junks to make performance part of it, performance part for it, because performance parts are very expensive. And then I like to put down in articles and share it out to other people. So those days we don't have platform like Facebook and YouTube. If we have YouTube, I think, oh, I can monetize a lot of that right now. Um, so I wrote hundreds of articles in different type of car forums, right? As old
Mm.
as Auto World forums and 0 to 100, and we created our own group and our own forums as well. But the problem about all these forums is whenever the car group, disappears or disband, the domain, no one is paying for it, and everything disappears, right? So hundreds of
Yeah.
all my articles gone. That's why I created Kaki DIY. Originally, just like a blog, a platform to put all these articles inside, right? And the reason why I started Kaki DIY is because, those days people just call me JL's DIY lah. JL, not
Yeah.
Miss JL. Yeah. And
Wow, that is so brand.
yeah, but I don't want all these DIY ideas or initiative to be owned by a person. Although it's from me, right? It sounds really nice, but I want people to embrace it and they own this as well. So this whole name of Kaki DIY came out because number one, we are Malaysians. So Kaki means a group of like-minded people, like Kaki Borla, Kaki Kereta, Kaki whatever negative one also got. And then Kaki DIY will be a whole bunch of DIY people gathering together,
Yeah.
right? And the second thing is, of course, I'm Hokkien. So to make my Hokkien heritage proud, Kaki in Hokkien means yourself. So yourself do DIY, or it's double positive reinforcement lah. So that's how Kaki DIY was born. Then it was originally automotive DIY posts. We run Kaki DIY go-kart events. We race in Sepang. Okay, I was really crazy in Sepang that time. Then I start to realize that the group is not growing that much because time had changed. 10 years
Yeah.
ago, okay, 20 years ago, yes, cars are manual, people modify it, okay, you can tweak it and tuning yourself, right? But these days, most of the cars are everything computerized and electronics. You change a light bulb also, some of the cars can't start already because it's not certified and it's not their network specific parts, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So then I sort of like pivoted a little bit to be more relevant, 3D printing and drones. And then I got a big break because one day one of a script writer came to me and said, like, you know what, upcycling and recycling is kind of the thing right now. Why not use some of your idea? Let's create a TV show and we can pitch it to someone to sponsor it, to put it up in the TV, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, it took around 2 years because no takers. And finally, RTM sort of like bought the content. And that's how I got into the whole TV industry as well and created documentaries. And yeah, if we fast forward to today, we have 60 documentaries right now on RTM and some on YouTube as well. That's partially what Kaki DIY's model is, content curation. And we focus a lot on DIY, upcycling, making resources around you into something, right? So,
Mhm.
but I also feel that it's not growing fast enough, right? As a community builder, you don't want to be in the position where every time you have to seed something or run an initiative, then people will come and do, then after that it dies off, right? And I took one step back and think about it and realize that what people really needs is actually just basic life skill. People want to learn how to diagnose and repair stuff,
Yeah.
especially true during the recent COVID, right? You can't get people to come in to repair, you can't go out to buy stuff, so you have to kaki DIY yourself, right? Yeah. So that's how Kaki Repair was born. 4 years ago, I started this off actually as just a channel to bring people into the makerspace because Kaki DIY was running makerspaces. And then after that, we cross sell them into Kaki DIY's other programs, right?
Yeah.
And because of COVID, okay, so that time, Kaki Repair is very physical. We go everywhere to run physical events. People come in to learn to repair and, yeah, learn from each other and get things repaired, right? And because of COVID, we can't do physical events. So originally, I thought that's it. That's the end of Kaki Repair since we can't do physical events. So that time, yeah, I actually contacted you asking you how do you run all this online thing. You show me OBS and all the StreamYard and all the platform. So we tried to do some live events, and eventually, yeah, that took off because people having this need of wanting to learn how to repair, and it's impossible for us as the group admin or myself to teach everyone how to repair their stuff, right? However, on the Facebook group itself, because it's also self-serve, people post a question, other people comments, all right? So it
Yeah.
started off with like a few hundred members, maybe like 20 posts per day kind of thing, 20 comments per day, and eventually, yeah, it went on, it grow and scale by itself. So today we have like hundreds and hundreds of posts and comments, everyone helping out each other. So in the end, I realized that, wow, I think that is what, the growth and sustainability is all about. So yeah, that's where we are today.
So,
Long story.
uh, I think COVID is one of the big catalysts for at least for your group, and when you mentioned that earlier, what are the learnings actually so far? Like in terms of running, like how big is the community now, and like you've been running it for 4 years. Like what are the key learnings so far as a community organizer?
Wow. Okay. One thing, okay, if
I
you're
sorry,
talking about
I told you
overall.
this was supposed to be casual, but I gave you a more hard question.
Oh, no, no, no. This is casual answer for me, Che. Okay lah. Overall, if we are talking about overall plus offline and online activities, right? I think as a community builder or as an organizer, one thing is important is actually consistency. Yeah, because especially when you are in a growing stage, once you are not consistent, sometimes you run, sometimes you're not, sometimes this month, sometimes you wait 3 months, right?
Mm.
People will lose their interest or even forget about you, right? So that's one. Second is, I think the second one is more important lah. It's all about your whole goal and vision and your passion about doing that. Yeah, because I tell you, first community can really see it whether you're really passionate to do something or you're doing something because of some other reasons, right? Can be all kinds of reasons. Maybe you're forced to do it, or you're doing this because you are trying to, I don't know, sell them something later on or something like that, right? Yeah.
Facebook is not forcing us to do this, so it's just doing it.
Yeah, that one is true. Yeah. Are we using their platform even?
No,
Okay.
no, I mean we are streaming that, but we're also streaming on YouTube. So hi.
Okay.
No.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that too. And then the last one, especially for you want it to sustain and grow very long and far, right? I think as a community leader, you have to think about sustainability since day one. This was something I did not do, and I actually, just go along, happy-go-lucky, and I guess we were quite fortunate. But ever since this Facebook Accelerator program, that's where I realized that, yeah, if I did not think about sustainability, I tell you, I will either be exhausted, my team members will all be exhausted or even lose focus or lost track, and then there goes the whole initiative or movement, right? Yeah.
Yeah, actually, that honestly, that wasn't something on top of my mind when running the group also, because it was like I guess for me it was like, yeah, there was a problem, especially last year during COVID, and well, we're still technically in COVID still, but there were people closing business and etc. So it's like, okay, how can we help them? What can we do to help them to pivot, sustain, or whatever? And there wasn't too much of thought like, okay, for group sustainability, I think both of us come from a side like, yeah, we don't mind contributing our time and working towards it and just sharing. But yeah, there's definitely that long term. Sometimes we don't think that far ahead in terms of like, because what are the things we can do with the group, and it's also quite interesting. So tell me about your process actually, how you discovered this Facebook Accelerator program, and the process of actually getting in, and what are some of the key learnings, besides now you talk about sustainability, that you got so far from
Mm.
that.
Okay. This one is actually quite a funny story. So, I did not know about this program at all. And then one day I saw in my email, it was like, Facebook recommend you to read this one or something like that. There's a Facebook Accelerator program and you should apply. Then I was reading it. I'm not sure whether it's a scam or not. So I went into the Facebook page and saw that, oh, there's such thing called Facebook community. And I always thought like Facebook community is just like Facebook group, right? And
Mm,
that's it. It's about the tools and stuff like that. Then I was reading through and it's like, oh, you can access to even more tools and you can, know more people and connect to the other communities. I was like, okay, this is nice because at least I can learn from them or I can, brand myself with them or something like that. So I click on apply and the form was so simple. It's just like, I think some names and contacts and what's your group, right? So I sent it over and I forgot about it, right?
mm.
Then a few weeks later, I think there's another email came in and say like, okay, you seems to be qualified or something like that. Now we need your video of yourself explaining what you do and things like that. So I was like, okay. I was actually quite busy, so I waited until almost the last day before setting up the camera and just like this, right? Explain what is Kaki Repan, blah blah blah, and send it over. And suddenly there were interviews. I forgot how many times, twice, I think.
Mm.
Yeah. And then after that, it's like, yeah. Okay, the final interview, it was funny because they were asking a lot about like commitment and what's my plan is and how can I grow better and things like that. Then I asked like, does that mean I'm selected? Then yeah, then the answer was like, yeah, 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 you're in the finalist. That's why we want to make sure that you can spare the time. Then I was like, oh, okay, yeah, and that's it. Yeah, I think I quite forgotten the last process. There was some due diligence, if I'm not
So
wrong.
there was a
Yeah.
bunch of duty background checks, basically.
Background check. Yes, correct, correct. And then ever since then, yeah, it started to be very busy because that's a lot of cohort learning sessions. That's meet the other cohorts, which yeah, we all get together and then we start to know the rest of the Malaysian cohorts and we get connected to the rest of the Asia Pacific. So yeah, and learn from each other. And during the cohort sessions, we learn about path to impact. We learn about how do we grow, how do we communicate, storytelling, validation and tools, and we also get access to some special new tools from Facebook to be applied to the group. And yeah, so far it has been really good because I started off with a very mediocre or even low expectation. I was like, okay, just connect and have fun, right? And but I was surprised after the first two sessions because I start to realize that there's so much things I can learn. And the most important thing that I learned from this is actually the connection to the rest of the cohort
Yeah.
and looking at the amazing stuff that people are doing, right? And I suddenly feel so small.
Yeah, actually, that is one of the reasons why I want to do this series, starting with Johnson, and because I want like our community to actually know the rest of the other communities that are doing so many amazing things, and it it's the Chinese saying is like 一山有一山高. So it's like when you look at it, it's like shout out to Francis, shout out to Jason, and shout out to Bagus. Like these guys are like amazing. Like there's so many amazing communities and community builders out there in the region, and I think like you, like my my original expectation was actually learning more from Facebook when I signed up for this. It's like, oh, cool! I want to learn more about community building and also interested about the tools. And after that, it was like, oh my god, my eyes just like wow, like so impressed. Like I think one of the things we get to do is that we get to go into the we get to meet like uh, present what we do to the rest of the community
Mm.
in our cohort. And and every session I'm like, oh my god, this is so amazing, wow, this is like so cool, like I can, like and sometimes always clap, I'm like, because I'm like super amazed basically.
Yeah, actually on this point, right? When I first went in, okay, for the cohort sharing, community sharing that you mentioned, right? So I was the second one
Mm.
to start off, right?
Yeah, the first
And when I went in, yeah, so Francis was the first one. When I went in, I was super confident. I was like, no worries, I have my story ready. It's the same story I've been telling all the time. And my group is not bad. That time it was like, we just crossed over to 10,500. Yeah, very big. And we have some impact and result to show. And so Home Buddies went first. And then I was listening in and I was like, what? 2 point something million
one.
followers? And she single-handedly, admin and background check each and every one of them, and monitor the comments and work out these structures and you know they have this, what, she's Mayora, and she got this, the different teams taking care of the different stuff. And suddenly I was like, okay, can I not present right now? And suddenly I was like, I felt a little bit smaller, right? So okay, I presented and all that. It's fine. We're sharing our story, and then later on, the next week and the next week, I was like, wow. So first of all, 10,000 over community is nothing, and secondly is the type of impact some of them does, right? So for example, the one that I amazed the most, because you look at the community group, it's just Philippines Surf Sports, right? That's the
Yeah,
name.
yeah.
So it's
JP.
like, okay, it's just surfing spots in Philippines. Cool, I can now know where to surf. But no, their community impact is the people, the children, and their education, and beach cleanup and all that. And I was like, wow, the impact is so much bigger than just what the group is all about, right? And that there I learned a lot. Yeah.
No, not only that. Like for example, so there's the mobile chess club. That was that. So I won't say I'm a biggest chess fan, but I play chess and etc.
Yeah.
And you all of a sudden got this got these two guys who are narrating chess like a wrestling match. We're like, holy shit, man! Like the amount of creativity that I think that our community, our cohort members have is amazing. And it's not that like it's also not like about like the group that is about the size or anything, because there are definitely groups that are smaller, and but like the things that they do is like whoa,
Yep.
uh like we need this here, like we need this here. So like
Yep.
I'm super impressed basically with every one of them. And in fact, like even meeting the Malaysia cohort, like with
Mm.
Anita and Rafida,
Yeah,
I'm
Rafida's group. Yeah.
so I'm like wow, like the work that Rafida is doing basically is like amazing.
Yeah, and definitely for especially like Rafida's group, right? It's not about the size, because keeping it small, especially they are very exclusive kind of group, but the amount of impact that they're doing is easily 5 times, 10 times more.
Yeah. Because just to clarify, Rafida Group is the cerebral palsy group or GAPS,
Mm.
uh, and what they do is actually they provide education for kids with cerebral palsy, and usually kids with cerebral palsy are not. I'll get her to explain this better in the next session, but I'll try to do my best. And kids with cerebral palsy are usually not accepted in government school because they don't have the facility to handle or the know how to teach the kids. And she's basically building a whole education system for these kids to learn and grow. And usually, like the kids that are generally ignored, even though some of the schools they have a facility for special needs kids. But yeah, and and the things that like you never think about it. It's like, oh my god, that's like I never know this kind of stuff exists until that.
Yeah. And actually thanks to you as well because you hosted the first, get together for the all the four of us. And then during that session I realized that hey, I actually crossed paths with Rafida before in a previous event with UN and UNICEF, right? And yeah, and this type of impact will keep on growing lah. And we all should collaborate and keep pushing through. Yeah.
What are some of the community sharing from the other groups I know we did talk about home buddies. I think one of the cool thing about home buddies is home bud how will you describe home buddies also I don't know. Home room renovation, is it?
Home buddies basically, am I frozen?
You're frozen a bit, but let me
Oh, is it?
unfroze. Let me try.
Yeah, just now you're frozen. Okay, I
Yeah,
see
I think
myself
it's
frozen.
frozen. You are frozen. Never mind, just stop.
Oh crap.
I'll
Okay,
just
yeah. Never mind. Luckily, it's a good post. Okay, so basically, I would describe Home Buddy as this community space where people share out ideas on how they decorate home. Can be a simple home with either DIY decorations or things that you can buy, cool things that you can buy available online or easily around you, and make it your own and make it special. That's how I see it. Because in the group itself, you have DIY people, you got people who refurbish and bring new life to old stuff, and you also have like some people showcasing how they buy stuff from, let's say, IKEA and stuff like that, and then they mix and match with some other things they found on Shopee, and it becomes something unique and cool, right? And yeah, that's the power of a community. And yeah, the whole community helping out each other, that one is very very strong.
and one of the cool things are on for the entrepreneurs in our group. Basically, whatever that is posted in Home Buddies, that is available on Shopee or Lazada gets sold out. Like
Yeah,
sold out. Yeah, and even like merchants actually go there and put like this is this is the item found in Home Buddies. And
yeah.
like the amount of economic impact that they do is like just crazy, and that's one of the things that I'm like truly inspired, like oh my god, like what can we do with our community to actually create those kind of economic impact basically. Yeah, I think you're frozen.
Yeah, I tell you one thing, yeah, because yeah, to explain to people, my laptop screen cracked, so I have to use external, which is this GoPro, and GoPro has fever problems. So when it overheats, yeah, this happens. Oh,
uh,
too bad.
I'm coming from the guy who is the Kaki DIY, Kaki repair, can't fix, I cannot say anything.
Yeah, well, that's the problem, right? Because it's too bad I have to mention it. It's Mac, so we can't DIY fix screens nowadays. You have to buy the whole screen with the bezel and stuff like that, and it's just way too expensive. Because end of the day, I don't know, use another iPad or something like that. Can still almost do the work instead of fixing the screen. So I'm stuck right now.
Don't worry.
Physically stuck and graphically video stuck.
let, let's talk a bit about the maker mentality, maker mindset, shall we?
Okay. Yep.
Yeah, I think a lot of folks in my community in the entrepreneur group, that we might not be so familiar with the maker community and the maker mindset, and there is actually a movement that's been going around for quite a while actually, in terms of people making stuff and people prototyping and building drones, building robots, 3D printers, and all those things. Like, what are some of the things that you see that we are not doing in Malaysia as with the maker community, that we can actually improve on, or some of the things that the entrepreneurs can actually learn from?
Okay. So one thing, yes, yeah, Malaysia maker movement started with a few makers in Malaysia since I think I would say 6 7 years ago. Um, the problem about the whole maker scene in Malaysia is we don't have quite enough support in terms of the whole ecosystem. So a lot of people keep saying, right, to have a proper maker movement, you must have maker spaces. We do have maker spaces around in Malaysia, right? So a few started and failed, like my one, but we also have like huge good ones like BGBG, America Makerspace in Publica, and they're also in universities like in Taylor's. In Penang, you have PSC, in Johor, in Sabah, Sarawak, we have makerspaces, right? Now, the problem is actually the people themselves. Um, Knowing what to do in a makerspace is one thing. Like, for example, yes, you can go to makerspace to 3D print stuff, which is cool. But nowadays, 3D printers are also so affordable that you can do it at home. Second is actually what is next after makerspace, right? So a lot of people keep on thinking that by going to makerspaces or doing this maker thing is just to make things yourself, like creating 3D printed keychain, lah, let's say, right? But what's next, right?
Mm.
So in a whole maker movement kind of thing, or the whole maker mindset, is of course the first step itself is making something using your hand, which is good. It's just like what Kaki DIY does, is life skill and related, right? The second part of it is actually more towards the whole innovation, solving problems and creating impact, right? Which some of the communities are trying to do right now. And I think that's what the whole, even Facebook Community Accelerator is trying to do, is trying to create impact from the group that you have, right? Then from there, from the impact, you'll be the third step, which means from there, how do you convert then this impact into either a service, a product, a solution, something that if we are looking on the entrepreneur's side, it can be monetized into something, it can create a business out of it. Or if you're looking down on more SE or charitable one, this particular impact can scale and further grow and stuff like that, right? So all these things comes from a few things, which is critical thinking, which is design thinking, which is collaboration. Because all these things, then we can come back to creating the impact, and that's what you can find in a maker space or in a maker mindset or maker movement, right? So a few of these key is missing. So that's why I think now in Malaysia, maker movement is still in an infancy stage, and yep, everyone trying hard to get everyone together lah.
Yeah. So one of the things in terms of as entrepreneurs, they want to go into the product space basically, and
Mm.
companies like Square used to be prototype their credit card scanner in a maker space. And what advice would you suggest for entrepreneurs that to how do they work with makers? Because like building software product is very different from actually building a physical product basically. If like say I have an idea to do something, like what advice would you give?
Okay, yes. Actually, one thing, yeah, that you mentioned here, right? One positive outcome of maker spaces and maker movement is actually solutioning. So for even startup or some smaller SMEs, when they wanted prototypes to be done, to go to the usual route of getting suppliers to do that might be expensive and longer, right? So that's where a lot of these startups and SME is looking at makers to help them build this prototype. Because end of the day, makers usually have this little small maker space at home. They have 3D printing, 3D printers, and they can do CAD and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
So yes, it can be starting from that point, and it is good because end of the day, then it's a collaborative effort, much cheaper, much faster. However, at the same time, to protect both sides, one is of course the company need to also validate and do some background check who is actually doing this stuff for you. And as a maker itself also, please don't spoil the market in multiple ways. Number one, if you promise you can deliver, you deliver.
Mhm.
Second is also, I mean, pricing goes both ways, right? You can do it very, very cheap to I don't know, because it's your hobby and it's just for fun. But if you set the standard too low, then the entire economy around makers and prototyping is going to be spoiled. And next time, it's very hard for someone new to come into the market. Okay, because end of the day, yes, you might have a 3D printer at home. So for you to just design and 3D print something, you won't have much of a bigger cost already. But for someone who is really interested, very skillful in designing, but trying to buy a 3D printer to run this, it will be a little bit high on the cost side, right?
Yeah, that is something that I think a lot of makerspace or makers basically they don't know how to um, gauge the pricing, and they just do this like, oh yeah, just because I got all the filaments, everything, I just print it out and etc. And then never figure out like what's the workmanship about it. And so the entrepreneurs don't have the exact cost on how much to manufacture it basically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So yeah, loh, I guess yeah, the ecosystem itself, everyone has to play the part. The maker, the DIYer, the SME, makerspace owners, yes. Education is the other point. We can go on forever on that topic.
So before I know you're stuck. I'm very sorry about that.
It's no
We
problem.
had some comments that your post is actually your finger from Cheng Huat. Actually, your finger must really taste really good. So
Yeah, it's made out of PLA, so it's vegetable starch. So I like to eat. Dah lah.
Cheng Huat also said that there are many service provider giving very low prices on Shopee. So uh,
Yeah.
yeah, that happens, but so it's something that I think we need to look into it more. But yeah, before we let you go, any final advice that I know you are a corporate guy, but you are an entrepreneur in many hats. Basically, any final advice that you want to give to our community?
Okay. Final advice. I think, well, whether it's working or what, right? End of the day, where after we finish, we graduate and all that, we come out, we definitely need to work. We definitely need to, build a career or find income, right? I guess this is true for 99.8% of us lah. The 0.2, you no need to work for the next three generation one. That one also slightly different advice, right? But for those who are coming outside to do that, the first thing is, of course, it's a cliche, but try to find what your passion is all about, right? What you really love to do. And try to build your career or your startup or what you want to do around there. Because end of the day, passion is like your battery and your driver. Without passion, a lot of all these things won't happen. Even as simple as a project lah. You want to paint your house, but your passion is not about doing things yourself, then you will never start the project, right? Same with work. Okay, if your passion is about, I don't know, learning or numbers or coding and stuff like that, of course you don't go do other type of things like, being a pilot or what lah. Yeah, that's one. Second is always, lifelong learning. There's no such thing as education stops at university. At work especially, learn at work because it's going to be applied to your next career jump or your next position and things like that. For me, why I like to work in corporate at the same time, building stuff on the side, is because I actually learn a lot from corporate. Corporate is like, a test bed for you, not really test bed for you to fail, but it's a platform for you to gain experience and learn very fast and learn from good leaders. Okay, apply some of the skills and knowledge, and then once you get a hang of it, you apply it to your own startups or business elsewhere, right? And on this particular note, the third one is always set the right expectation within your community, with your family, or even in work. Okay, especially in work, if you're doing something like myself, where you have a corporate job at the same time you side hustle, right? Make sure your boss, your managers, your HR knows what you are doing, and no conflict of interest, and strictly no cheating. Yeah, don't use company resources to build your own stuff. outside. Okay, I'm really against it as well. So yeah, do this on your own time after work or whatnot lah.
So one more thing I just remember because like for some reason it's out of my memory, but I was going through your site, then I just remember last year,
Hmm.
Johnson, Cheng Huat also in the community, and a whole bunch of us, also Si Jin. The maker community came about to help a lot in COVID relief by building face shields and etc. So, do you have any interesting stories to share about that? Because I like the work the work we all did last year. Like I totally blank out with it. I don't really remember
Oh, well,
because it was so
actually,
busy.
yeah.
It was probably one of my most busiest time ever last year in my life because was live streaming with the for our entrepreneur group, and at the same time we were coordinating, sending PPE, sending like face shields, sending food supply to frontliners and everything. Then all of a sudden now I'm like, actually what we did.
Yeah, what we did, right? Yeah. Actually, from here, since you're at the site, right, you can go to the blog and there's some of the updates inside there. Okay, so last year, yes, actually, I was motivated by all of you because when we had the first lockdown and there's news about online hospitals are running out of PPEs and there's global movement of people 3D printing face shields, DIY face shields and stuff like that, right? So I was like, hey, since I have like old 3D printers at home, why not I try do something out of it? So yeah, so started to 3D print some face shields and realized that my 3D printer is a bit too slow and too small to print a proper adult face shield, right? So I was scouring outside trying to find the next best 3D printer. So I stumbled upon the Ender 3, yeah, which can print two face shields side by side. So I DIY built the Ender. I actually created a video while I'm building the Ender 3 because it's a 3D printer. It's a DIY 3D printer, right?
Mhm.
And that particular video actually gained some views. And a few things came out from there. So first, of course, I get to print the face shield, which then, with your help and all that, we distribute it out to the hospitals. And from there, I was approached by 3D printer manufacturers to be like, why not you use our 3D printer? You do review at the same time. We support you to print some of the stuff. So I got more printers and I got discounts. So I bought even more printers. So in the end, I ended up with 9 3D printers printing this non-stop. I did not sleep. The longest time I did not sleep was around a week. I just take a few minutes nap because then one of the printers stopped, so I had to come out and reset it and whatnot, right? And
Yep.
I created more videos, and all these videos actually I put it on YouTube, and it became I'm eligible for monetization, and from there it grew up into this 3D printing channel, right? Yeah, so multiple things came out from there, and from there also start to realize that the power of community is very strong. Suddenly all the makers, especially those with 3D printers, came together, form this huge network. People who can print will print, people who can do logistic will help to send it out or deliver filaments. And it's also the first time in my life I burned through 80 kilos of filaments like within a month kind of thing. So yeah, it was really nice. And yeah, lah, from there, happy because we created a lot of impact. But at the same time, although people keep on saying, right, oh yeah, sometimes you do all this sort of thing, you get nothing for yourself. But along the way, there's silver linings, right? Like for example, this YouTube channel things and things like that. It's a byproduct, and well, in the end, we get more back from it, right? Kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, it was actually a very interesting time, like people coming together and like, helping each other, and yeah, I honestly like if you really ask me now what did I did last year, I have to think a bit because I don't know because it was one of those ultra busy period of my life, and I mean I was very fortunate that I get to work together with you and a whole bunch of amazing people all around Malaysia just to try just try to help in our best to just do relief for the COVID for the frontliners basically. So yeah, that was, I don't know, and I hope we don't have to do that again. It was fun, but I
True.
hope we don't, definitely I won't have to do that again anymore.
Yeah, and I think one very, I'm actually quite touched about this is, so there were a few people, some are friends and some are actually total strangers recommended by friends, right? They call me up during that time and say that, okay, you need more printers, right? I say like, actually the more printer I can print faster, right? So instead of calling out for people donating filaments and stuff like that, so these people actually volunteered. They say like, okay, tell you what, let me buy a printer from you, as in like you build out the printer, but I park the printer at your place for a few months so that you can use this printer to print. At the same time, I buy additional filaments. You use as much as you can, and after this whole sprint is done, then I will collect the printers, right? So actually, that period alone, I think additional six more printers that people purchase, I built for them, but I get to use it for a period of 2 months, 3 months to print face shields. And then after that, at the end of it, then I deliver the printer to them, fully tuned up, fully run in with thousands of hours in it. Yeah, yeah lah. That is a good story.
That is quite amazing. One of the things that I'm super impressed is like if I were to if you were to see just now the earlier screen share that I shared in terms of uh, like basically there was so much prototyping going on, so like version 1 of the face shield, version 2 of the face shield, and including the I think you were people were building like isolation box to try to build ventilators if possible. I know ventilator was something super hard, but I never stopping people to actually attempt to build ventilators.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is really really like super amazing to me to see, to get to work with all of you to actually try to do something to not only to relieve the effort from the frontliners that are actually trying to save us last year. So thank you very much, Johnson. Really appreciate. And beyond this, where can people actually like find your face?
Well, yeah, thank you very much for this session. So to find me is very simple. Go to kakidiy.com, or actually now I'm focusing more from now onwards until the future will be more on Kaki repair, because end of the day, the repair movement is something that everyone can embrace and do it at home. So go to Kaki Repair. Our website is kakirepair.com. Same meaning. Kaki repair means you repair yourself and a group of like-minded repairers gathering together. Or we are more actually active on our Facebook, which is Kaki Repair Facebook. You can find it, Kaki Repair by Kaki DIY. And soon, by the next few weeks, actually to be safe, end of the year, we'll be launching our own platform on Kaki DIY, kakirepair.com, which will be a knowledge management system for all types of repair, for all types of repair ideas and discussion is going to be there. Yeah, currently this particular site is our original traditional site where you can link to the Eventbrite and link to our Facebook group. But soon this site will be like a discussion board. It's basically a very pretty discussion board. It looks like Pinterest or Instagram, but it is actually a forum. So we are building this right now, currently testing it out, and we'll be launching it soon.
Yeah, thank you very much. And please follow Johnson and please join Kaki Repair. Especially if you want to go and learn how to fix your own stuff. As entrepreneur, also sometimes like I know sometimes you certain stuff are quick enough that you can fix it and then you can actually save some money and save some time also. So basically that. So thanks a lot, and looking forward to see you. We will be actually doing a few more of this casual session together with our other Facebook cohort, and hopefully we get to learn about their motivation. I think Johnson knows my favorite, Dr. Teng. Unfortunately, it's not so halal
Yeah.
group, but can't wait to actually get him on to actually share what he's doing. So I will see you soon. Cheers. Bye.
Okay, see you. To everyone, take care, stay safe. COVID is not over yet. Okay,
Yep.
good
Stay
night.
safe. Bye.
Okay, bye.